Hi, it's Jane, and it's day 19 of my 40-day journey of tenderness. Today was a powerful day. I didn't think I could feel happier than I've been feeling. Even with yesterday, like being a difficult day and kind of feeling shitty most of the day, even in that, like by the end of the day, when I was making the video, I realized, oh, this is actually beautiful too. And it's so beautiful that I can recognize that it's beautiful while it's happening. Like that is just such a good feeling. And today, in feeling so good, it was just another reminder that like I have to feel the lows to feel the highs, right? You have to, your container, the grooves have to be really deep, so that it can be filled up. The more empty you can feel, the more full. Just the idea that like, sadness and happiness, they're kind of two sides of the same thing. And the depth that you're able to feel, if you're numb to one thing, you're numb to the good parts too. And so today, I've been struggling with a kind of wondering what it looks like to create from an expanded place. So it's like I'm good with just letting myself do whatever I want, or kind of directing myself with a goal in mind. But how do you kind of achieve certain goals without becoming rigid or making yourself smaller? And why this was coming up for me was, I felt this kind of directive to work on some things in my business, but at the same time, internally, I was getting this message, like intuitively, to just work on my personal art and kind of like do what makes me happy. And again, my work makes me happy, but I felt like I was approaching it from a place of like, I need to get this done. I need to like know how to connect with clients, And so whatever I made, it just didn't feel good to me. And I didn't know how to reconcile that, because then if I didn't do that work, I would feel guilty. Like, I can't just sit at home and just make art all day. Like, I have to be out in the world and engaged. But at the same time, it felt really right for me to do that. And that's what kind of like 100% felt like to me. This is what I really want to devote myself to. So then it came to me, well, then why don't you just devote yourself to that? And I realized that actually a few years ago, I spent a week by myself in like this place, this cabin in New Mexico, because I needed to come back home to myself. And I was asking myself this question, like, what's my purpose? What am I really here for? And I was doing healing work at the time, but the business wasn't working, even then. And the answer that came, I like walked this labyrinth over and over, and the answer that came was like, you're an artist, and that's your passion, and you are using this healing thing to kind of as a safety net, which is funny because it's not like being a healer is like the safest route you could take. But I guess in my mind somewhere there's a belief, like the starving artist. And with being a healer, at least it's still the sense of like I'm serving. Even though there's a stereotype with healers not making money either, I guess at some level I believe unconsciously that art, it didn't feel meaningful enough. Like, you can't just sit around and make art and put it in a gallery. And I even tried that because it was such a strong impulse. I went to grad school for art, and I tried like, okay, what would it be like to just be in debt and be an artist, but it didn't feel meaningful enough. I was like, I don't want my goal to be to have my stuff in galleries. Like, that just isn't. So then I decided to go to med school. So anyway, that was like a whole different route. And then I got into healing. But I always had this creative thing on the side, and that's why lately, when I kind of combined the art and the healing together, that felt really good to me. Like, okay, it's integrated. And really, really what I believe is that there's no difference. Like, to me, healing, there's nothing to heal. Like, everyone's a divine creator, so there's nothing to heal. We're all whole. So what healing means is just being able to see that, being able to recognize that, waking up to the truth of that. And art, I see art as the way to do that, because art is it's about expression. So when you express yourself, first of all, you're seeing yourself in form. It's like you're making a reflection of you with a part of your mind that isn't limited by ordinary reality, right? The imagination is like kind of connecting you to the bigger you. And then also when you express yourself, other people are reminded about themselves. So we see each other reflected in our expressions and kind of the parts we can't see within ourselves. That's what, it is to be inspired by someone else. It's like they're reminding you of something within yourself that you might have forgotten. And so, and the idea that, a miracle is a shift in perspective, that's all it is. Everything is already perfect. So the solution to problems isn't about actually solving anything. It's about seeing clearly, expanding your perspective so that you actually see that there isn't a problem in the first place. And what is art, right? If not showing someone a different view. So obviously I believe all these things and I think this way, but I could still see there was a split between what I actually believe and what I was demonstrating, because in my mind I was kind of making it separate. Like, oh, I can make my personal art, but then to make this marketing thing or, make this program, it has to be something else that didn't feel as authentic. And so it just hit me that, the work I'm doing might be exactly the same, but it's where I was coming from internally, like that I was somehow separating it and again seeing it as like that ego thing of like I need to try to connect with these people, and how can I help them? How can I use language that can, connect with them? And it's like, you're not doing it for them. Like, so I really like again tapped into like, what do I want out of this? Why am I doing the work I'm doing for me? Not to help anyone else. And it's like, because I like making art. I like making art and I like talking about it because that is satisfying to me. I like discovering things about myself and the world. I do it for the love of truth. I like to see the deeper meaning behind things. I like to see life revealing connections to me that I couldn't see any other way, and that my mind's patterns will limit me from seeing if I don't actually create something new or witness other people's expressions and co-create with them. So yeah, just like owning that that's enough. Like that's my work. I like to express myself, and then I like to share it and talk about it. I like to look at what other people do, and I like to connect with people that inspire me, that in through talking with them I receive insights and yeah. So that felt so liberating to just be clear on what I'm actually doing, and it just seemed to solve all of the issues I was having with like how do I really connect with people that I want to connect with, and I realized I wasn't connecting because I was because of this like division that I had in my mind. So that felt good. And then later, the card I picked today was Butterfly Maiden. this transformation. It says you're experiencing enormous change right now, which brings great blessings. And I do feel like that. I really feel like that. I feel like that just bit about owning it. And what's weird is, like, again, I had that insight years ago, and I didn't, I guess, fully listen, or I couldn't fully receive it. And today I was just reflecting on, like, even the fact that I'm so dense that, like, life can keep giving me these messages over and over, and I still don't get it until these moments when I get it. Even that's awesome, because I realized today, like, how much joy it brings me when I have these mini revelations. Because to me, it's like, oh my God, that's why I'm here. Like, or I'll make, someone will say something that I realize I predicted or that I wanted, and that kind of, like, recognition, that just the journey of discovery, it's really fun. And it's like, if I got it the first time, like when I was 16 and I or 14 or whatever, I started making art, if I was like, oh yeah, this is my work, I'm just going to do this all the time, that just wouldn't have been as interesting to me, so even though part of me is complaining, like, how come I don't know what I want to do with my life, how come I don't have, like, a straight path, da, da, da. Obviously I don't really want that, or else that's what would have happened. So just kind of, like, laughing at my own, my creation. I mean, I'm creating this life, and I do like it, and I'm liking it more and more. So accepting that I'm the creator and the created. Um, and this thing about the butterfly, yes, this cocoon that we create for ourselves through our beliefs, it can be cozy, right? It's safe. But it's, after a while, it can be suffocating when you're ready to jump out. And then there's that middle phase where it's like mush. And yep, for me, yeah. And then there's that oscillation where it's like, what am I? I'm not that anymore, but I don't know what I'm becoming yet. And I'm just supposed to sit in this really messy, gunky stuff. And yeah, that's not easy. But it's all becoming clear. It's all becoming clear. I'm very grateful for that. And and I think I feel like I'm getting better at just being more patient when it's not clear, and trusting. I mean, it's not it's not easy, but I yeah, I can just see increments. I'm trusting a bit more. And hmm, yeah, that's it.